Hey, this time on Old School Monster Life, we swap out our old 3-built RII for a new Granite Sexiness RII. I can't wait. I am so ready to ditch 3-built, it's not funny. Okay, so we're in the cab of Earthquake, and I wanted to give you some background of the issues I've been having with 3-built, and hopefully how we're going to fix all those issues with the Granite Radio. Anyway, well, here, let me just tell you what I've been dealing with 3-built's radio. I'm going to start the truck for you. So here's how we start the truck. And we turn that off for a second. This is the 3-built receiver that's in the truck. So we turn power on. I get a yellow light, I get a green light. That's what it's supposed to do. Now, I'm also going to turn my transmitter on. Green light. That means that the transmitter is hooked to the truck. Well, ideally, that's what that means. So let me fire the truck up. Made a liar out of me. But I should have a red LED on the receiver, and on the transmitter, I got a red LED. But now with the red LED, so that's not right. But what it's been doing is shutting it off, but not long enough for the engine to die, and it keeps restarting. It doesn't do that all the time, so every third test is okay. But I should have a red LED in my receiver until I reset it with the transmitter, and it's not even doing that. So the first year I had 3-built, everything was perfect. Everything worked exactly the way it's supposed to. The day before our first show, the second year we had it, I tested it, and the first test didn't work. It wouldn't shut the truck off, but the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth test did. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it was tired from sleeping all winter. So we get to the show, and the transmitter doesn't work at all, or the receiver isn't working. Something's not working, because it wouldn't shut the truck off for anything. I jiggled the wires, I beat on the receiver, I charged the transmitter, I did everything I could. I finally got it to kind of work that day. The next show we did, it wouldn't work at all. In fact, it wouldn't even let the truck start. I had to bypass the radio completely. So I called 3-built and I said, hey, look, I'm having these issues. What can we do about it? They said, well, we'll send you a brand new radio. Outstanding. So they sent me a radio. I had a Friday night and a Saturday night show. I was supposed to get the radio Friday. I didn't. I understand. Things happen. So I got it Saturday morning. Friday night show was a disaster. Kept shutting the truck off. It was popping and spitting and didn't do what it was supposed to do. So Saturday morning, we get the new radio. I put it in. Everything's perfect. Truck runs great. Put on a good show that night. That was the only time that the second radio worked. I go to the show after that, nothing. Truck just won't run. Have to bypass the radio again. And I called 3-built. I'm like, look, I can't keep going to promoters, showing up at shows and telling promoters that my radio doesn't work. You know, I have to have equipment that works. Well, send us back your receiver and we'll see what's going on. So I sent them it back, and they said, oh, well, you have a surge in your power supply that's frying the board. And I said, well, I don't see that in my voltmeter. They said, well, you know, if your alternator full fields for 3 milliseconds, it's enough to fry the board. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, okay. You know, I'll never see that in the voltmeter. So they put a surge protector in it. They made a couple other changes inside the receiver. Put it in the truck. It seems to be working. So we do the rest of the year with that. Not an issue. The first thing I noticed was my lane light, so the track officials know if my radio's on or off, didn't work. It worked the first time I used it, and then that circuit for the lane light blew out. Alright, fine. I guess I don't really need the lane light. So I've just been running without it. Well, now, the first show this year, my transmitter starts crapping out. And I don't know whether or not you can see this, but, you know, it's a universal chassis that you can buy at Radio Shack or wherever. But, you know, I'm supposed to have a red and a green button. Well, the green button fell off already, so you got to kind of dig your thumbnail in there to push the green button. But I showed you, it works, sort of. Not great, but it works. And apparently, I'm the only truck that has ever had a problem with 3-built. But I've had enough problems with 3-built that I'm over it. I'm just over it completely. I want nothing to do with it. So, Dave Reif, and I believe his tech guru, his name is Nathan. Anyway, they got with Granite axles and they developed the Granite Radio. And like the 3-built, it's digital, but there's a lot of major differences. The major difference is with 3-built, everybody has one of these controllers. So if you have 5 trucks at a show, the poor track guy has got to juggle 5 of these transmitters. And we've already proved that that's a problem, because not everybody can look at 2 different trucks, juggle the transmitters. You know, if something happens, shut them off in time. It's just a headache. So Granite came up with a promoter radio. Now, in this promoter radio, it's got a computer screen on it, and you can program in every frequency for the trucks that you have running. So say you have 5 trucks, you can program in those 5 frequencies and pull up 2 at a time or 3 at a time or whatever you're going to run. And that way, there's no lanes. Everything's done with the promoter. The promoter radio can put earthquake in right lane, can put high roller in left lane, and if there's a truck running around in the pit, he can put him in the center lane. And it keeps track of all that. So if you want to kill right, left, or center, all you have to do is push right, left, or center on the promoter radio, and voila, that truck dies. Or it has a panic button, it can shut everybody down all at once. Wonderful. That is the wave of the future. That's what we need. The bigger thing is we need a radio that actually works every time. And what Granite did to make sure that that happens is they have a constant update between the transmitter and the receiver, meaning that, you know, I have a green LED on the receiver and I have a green LED in my transmitter on the 3-built, but you already saw how they're not talking to each other, because if they were, I'd have the same LED on both sides. Well, Granite, every 3 seconds, the transmitter pings the receiver and keeps that green LED lit. If for any reason it doesn't see the receiver anymore, I get a yellow light on the transmitter, meaning that I'm no longer in control of the truck. So we don't even have to test radios anymore. I can see if I'm hooked to the truck. If something happens that I'm not hooked to the truck, I don't have to guess. I know it immediately. Another wonderful feature that 3-built just can't touch. So after all the headaches that I've had, and I've rewired my truck, there's nothing wrong with the wiring, there's not a single old wire in this truck. I changed the way I have 3-Built's receiver hooked up to where instead of powering my ignition box now it's just closing the ground to a relay. So there is zero load on the receiver, and I put it on vibration isolators to try to help it along, because I do stuff with Earthquake that not a whole lot of other leafers are doing. Jeffrey Fielding is beating the crap out of Red Truck about as regularly as I am with Earthquake, so he's the only other person. But he has a Birch radio, so it's holding up better. Anyway, we're getting rid of the 3-Built. We're going to upgrade to the Granite. The only problem with the Granite is it has to have line of sight through the windshield. It doesn't have to, but your range is better if it has line of sight. So we're going to mount it up higher in the roll cage, so I can be further out and not have to worry about whether or not the transmitter can see the truck or not. So I have to take the 3-Built radio out. I'm going to leave the mount for the 3-Built radio just in case, and then I'm going to put another mount on the roll bar over in the passenger side there on the A-pillar. And then once I have it wired in, I'll show you how the Granite radio works. Alright, so we need a new mounting place for the Granite radio because it won't work on where the 3-Built is. So I'm going to let you guys in on one of my little secrets. If you have to mount anything to a roll bar, the best way to do that, as long as it's not real heavy or structural, let's say you need to mount a shifter or a remote RII onto your roll bar, the best way to do that, I found, is muffler clamps. And here's what I mean. So we have this simulated roll bar here. We put our muffler clamps on there, and then on the flat side of the muffler clamp we bolt this plate, and that way there I'm not welding to the cage, and if I need to move it I can, and I don't scar up the roll cage. So that's how I do it. And then this is a big enough area we can mount the radio to that plate, and voila, radio is mounted. So there's a little hack for you guys out there. Okay, we have the new Granite radio wired in. So here's what it looks like. Here's that mount that I made. Like I said, it's just a muffler clamp to the roll bar. If I have to change orientation, if I got to put it on a different bar, all I got to do is unbolt it and bolt it to a different bar. But Dave Reif and Nathan said that line of sight would give me best range, so there it is right in the middle of everything. When I run, both windows will be down, side windows that is. And here is my new controller. Now, that is not green, that is yellow, because it can't see the truck. So watch what happens when I turn the truck on. I get a green light on the radio, I get a green light on my remote. And just for visual confirmation, I hook my lane light back up, and that way, if for no other reason, the track crew can tell if my radio is on or off. But like I said, with the Granite system, it doesn't matter because the promoter puts me in, gives me my lane assignment. So I'm going to start the truck. Okay, red light on the radio, red light on the transmitter. I push it again, everything instantly goes back green, and I'm ready to rock. That is how radios are supposed to work. I am so looking forward to this. I can't wait to put it in a real world test, but it's hooked up and everything looks good. Can't wait. One thing I forgot to mention, I left the 3-built radio mounted in the truck, and I still have my transmitter. So worst come to worst, all I have to do is unplug the Granite Radio and plug in the 3-built, because everything is wired with quick connects. So if something were to happen, I have a backup radio system now, which, you know, ain't much, but at least it's something. Maybe it'll get me by if it needs to. But now I have dependable RII, and this guy's a happy camper. Can't wait.